Thanks for joining us for the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Kerdisha St. Louis. Coming up, a second Rural Business Enterprise Center launched. DVRP donates ICT equipment to Ministry of Telecommunications and Technology, and all library to be transformed into Post-Erica Reconstruction Center. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after this.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. Got it? Taking care of us can be so easy.
Take good care of the children.
Thanks for staying with us. On her first day as Commonwealth Secretary General, Baroness Patricia Scotland makes a pledge to meet the needs of all the 53 countries of the Commonwealth. Baroness Patricia Scotland made a courtesy call on the Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit at his office on Friday in her official capacity as a Secretary General of the Commonwealth. The Prime Minister raised the issue that he considers to be one of the most urgent issues affecting Commonwealth countries.
We have a serious issue there of climate change, droughts, unusual weather patterns, even here in Dominica. We should be now in the dry season, but we've been getting rain. We got rain for the whole of March, and April started with the same action. So we are really seeing a change of climatic conditions and patterns.
The Prime Minister says he believes that if the Commonwealth can fix some of these economic issues, we can also fix some of the social issues.
Although we're spending in every Caribbean country, you've seen in the last 10 years we've had to increase dramatically our social spending. And I'm excluding health and I'm excluding education, just on social safety nets. But I believe that if you can invest in the country and create better opportunities for people, then we could have them come here to create wealth within the country, and will not be heavily dependent on remittances. But the issue of climate change is a major concern for us. We are major victims of this. While the studies show that we contribute, almost a speck of sand on the 7 Mile beach in the Cayman Islands to climate change. But we are one of the major victims of it.
He made an appeal to the Baroness on the urgent issue of climate change.
And therefore, there are some actions which we have to take, but clearly, we do not have the resources. You may know the challenge, but you may not have the means of addressing the challenge. So I think the issue of climate change, and I want to commend the Commonwealth for agreeing at the last heads meeting to create this hub to provide technical and other support to small islands like ours in the Caribbean, to assist us in preparing the necessary documentation, advising us on an approach we should take to access those much needed funds. What we'd like you to ensure in your advocacy on our behalf is that we need to remind the international community that time waits for no man.
He asked the Baroness to impress on international financial institutions the urgency of climate change, especially on a small island Commonwealth countries. Meanwhile, Commonwealth Secretary General Baroness Patricia Scotland expressed her confidence in the 53 Commonwealth nations in addressing the looming threat of climate change.
If we think about the negotiations that you and others in CARICOM started in Barbados in July, when we were trying to decide what would be the level that we should agree on to go to CHOGM in Malta in November, and the CARICOM ministers and heads of government were the first to say our aspiration should be 1.5. Before CHOGM, all the skeptics were saying that was not doable. And I believe if the Commonwealth hadn't come together with that aspirational 1.5 coming from all 5 regions, big, medium, small, and micro states, saying that all of us with one voice were going to push hard in each of those regions for 1.5, we would never have had Paris. So I hope that what Paris demonstrated to the world was the power that the Commonwealth can have to protect those who are most vulnerable and those who will become vulnerable if international efforts are not made, that we can make a huge difference.
Baroness Patricia Scotland was elected as the Commonwealth Secretary General on November 27, 2015. In related news, the old library, an iconic building constructed in 1902 as a memorial to Queen Victoria, and which also served as an administrative office for the Agriculture Division, Museum, Magistrates Court, and most recently the DBS Sales Office, will be transformed to Dominica's Post-Erica Reconstruction Center. A ceremony was held at the grounds of the building on Friday to officially launch the project to first rehabilitate the building.
This building, the Queen Victoria Memorial Building behind us, was chosen as a site for the Reconstruction Resource Center. This building is itself in need of restoration and rehabilitation and will be restored to its former glory as a fitting symbol of how Dominica will be rebuilt, better and stronger. Baroness Scotland has managed to raise the necessary funds for its restoration, and today we are pleased that she could be here with us to launch this project. Upon completion of the rehabilitation, the center will serve the following purposes: a disaster information center, reconstruction, resettlement, social services and private sector information and updates for visiting missions, consultants, experts, volunteers, NGOs and the general public, media updates on reconstruction, tourist attraction / historical information on Victoria Street, and an office space for the reconstruction coordinator.
This is an initiative of the Right Honorable Baroness Patricia Scotland, who took up her post as a Secretary General of the Commonwealth today, April 1st. Baroness Scotland also served as Dominica's International Relief Coordinator following the passage of Tropical Storm Erica.
So why this centre? It's quite clear that Dominica has the capacity to lead the world. The existential threat of climate change is evident all around us. We have volcanoes, we have earthquake, we are potentially subject to hurricanes, to storms, and when I said to someone, but at least we don't have tsunamis, they said, not yet. So we have it all. And therefore we have the capacity to lead the world in terms of crafting solutions for those problems.
In February, Baroness Scotland visited Dominica with a team of experts on a scoping mission to determine what was needed in the island's quest to build better. World-renowned architect John McCaslin was part of the team. The Reconstruction Center will also include an expo where the public can receive information on the best practices for housing solutions, green solutions, and infrastructure.
The expo is, it's been done several times in the world following disaster situations, and specifically the largest one in history was done in Haiti after the earthquake of 2010, which is a project which I led with several other parties. And so this is the project we're going to discuss today, and the Cabinet, as I understand it here in Dominica, has already approved this project as of February 11th. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it is. An expo can be a number of things, but it really should demonstrate prototypes which are built and functioning. It should demonstrate best practices, and it should demonstrate products, all which lead towards a better reconstruction. And so now that Dominica has moved beyond the disaster relief phase, it's now moved into a planning and recovery phase, which is an important distinction. There's now an opportunity for looking at these best practices and integrating them and creating a more resilient future for this country.
Baroness Scotland is satisfied that this is her last mission as Dominica's International Relief Coordinator, but elated that this launching was her first duty as Commonwealth Secretary General. Wednesday, March 30th, saw the launching of the first Rural Business Enterprise Center for the indigenous people, more specifically Siniku in the Kalinago territory. A second Rural Business Enterprise Center was launched yesterday, March 31st, 2016, in the community of Pearbush. Government, through the Ministry of Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development, is actively engaged in creating an enabling environment that supports, strengthens, and promotes business development, especially in rural Dominica, hence the development of the Rural Business Enterprise Center model in rural communities. At the opening ceremony of the center, Parliamentary Representative for the Pearbush constituency and the Minister for Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development, Honorable Rosalind Paul, notes that this venture is all part of her ministry's and by extension government's drive to develop entrepreneurship in Dominica.
Indeed, we are making strides to fulfill our mission of creating an enabling environment that supports, strengthens, and promotes business development in Dominica. Furthermore, it is in keeping with our government, the late Dominica Labour Party-led government, its emphasis on entrepreneurship and micro-business development. And by virtue of the fact that we are here launching the second RBEC, and the extent of investment that we have made indicates our government's importance that it places on such initiatives.
She describes her hope for the center and reminded participants of the program that they are not alone.
The Pearbush Enterprise Center is a hallmark of efforts aimed at harnessing and developing enterprise activities at the rural level to yield micro and small businesses for increasing employment and income generation for women, men, and in particular, young people. The Ministry of Commerce, Enterprise, and Small Business Development has spent much effort and hand-holding support to provide the training required by participants who will today receive their certificates. But I want to just indicate to you, the participants, that you won't be alone. The training was just the first phase, and there will be continuous support, hand-holding, technical advice, guidance, and other training, further training in terms of management, social and entrepreneurial skills that will help to equip you to graduate out of this incubation period into your own business.
The Honorable Minister assured the nationals that her ministry will work to ensure that the center will be used to its full capacity.
We will continue to persevere with this initiative to provide all the necessary support and guidance to transform this enterprise center to yield full-fledged business men and women, in areas such as graphics, printing, research, ICT services, all the activities that a cafe can provide and more. And it is also there that can help you to do your own marketing and promoting through the use of the ICT Center.
Speaking on behalf of the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit at the ceremony was the Minister for Trade, Energy and Employment, Honorable Ian Douglas.
Our primary purpose as a government is really to change lives for the better, to make a positive impact on the citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica. And we always say, and we always, whenever we speak, we say that if our policies and our programs do not result in better persons in Dominica, then we are not fulfilling our mandate as a government. So I'm very happy this afternoon to be here, because that's what we are trying to do with all of the programs that we try to implement. And I will mention and I will name some of them, but especially this one. What we are trying to do really is to empower the citizens of Dominica, to empower our people, to give you the skills and the knowledge that you need so that you can go out there and you can generate revenue, you can create employment for yourselves, you can open your own businesses, you can start off a small business and become a successful entrepreneur.
Honorable Douglas, who is also the Member of Parliament for the Portsmouth constituency, noted that the program's main aim is to help citizens contribute overall to economic development.
This program seeks to take every single person from the communities of Pebush and Doda, no matter what your socio-economic background is, and make you a success tomorrow morning, make you a success story, make you equipped to contribute to the socio-economic development of the Commonwealth of Dominica, to create a cadre of entrepreneurs, a cadre, a band of businessmen.
The Honorable Minister assured that this is just the beginning for rural communities in Dominica.
I congratulate the ministry on your initiative for setting up this rural business center. I hope that it grows from strength to strength, because you are the forerunners. You and the Kalinago territory are the forerunners, so you have to succeed so that the rest of Dominica can see what you do and pattern on what you are doing, so that we can have every community in Dominica deciding what their niche is, getting into their niche, setting up their rural business centers, and really getting our persons to become entrepreneurs and to become true world-class businessmen. Keep up the good work, the Ministry of Commerce. I want to wish each and every one of you God's blessings, and I know that this program, in fact, will succeed and will become a beacon for the rest of the communities around Dominica to follow.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
I had a bleeding disorder that I did not know about, and they had to be transfusing me continuously. I got 56 units.
Being there at the blood bank, I was like, yo, I'm actually saving someone's life.
You never know when you can go.
Give blood. I have done it, and believe it or not, it don't hurt.
I won't be scared. I'll give. You know you're gonna give blood. I'll make sure she does.
Sit down at the blood bank in a comfortable environment for 45 minutes.
Helping people.
You are stimulating your body to make brand new cells.
You get free cookies, you get juice. Glad to know your blood group. Feels good. I felt as a better person.
It's a good thing to be alive, and I can thank God that I'm there and I'm enjoying life.
Welcome back. The Dominica Vulnerability Reduction Project, working under the Ministry of Health, has collaborated with the Ministry for Information, Science, Telecommunications and Technology by donating ICT equipment to improve the ability for collection of data and monitoring system. The Dominica Vulnerability Reduction Project was derived from Dominica's Strategic Climate Resilience and was officially launched in October 2004 and is being implemented under the Ministry of Health and Environment. The objective of this project is to reduce the vulnerability to natural hazards and climate change impacts in Dominica through investment in resilience infrastructure and improve hazard data collection and monitoring systems. Minister for Environment, Honorable Kenneth Daru, says ICT plays an important role in climate resilience.
Additionally, Component 2 will also bring about the successful creation of a robust spatial data management platform, early warning systems, and data collection management infrastructure that will allow Dominica to continue to improve its decision-making applications in the context of disaster risk reduction and climate adaptation, all through the provision of technical advisory services, training, and acquisition of goods and equipment, which is what we're going to hand over today. In keeping with the government's effort at building resilience to climate change, and in order to meet the objectives of the DVRP, and specifically what I just mentioned, that's Component 2, discussions were facilitated by the ICT unit of the Establishment, Personnel and Training Department, and I want to thank Ms. Jean-Pierre for her leadership in that department, and the Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with the many project beneficiaries, which I see many of you here today, within the government service to determine the various equipment needs. Among these were the needs specifically related to ICT and the ability to collect and analyze data.
Honorable Daru says several ministries will benefit from the ICT equipment.
The acquisition of this ICT equipment will go a long way in improving the ability of the various government departments to effectively execute their functions. The equipment being handed over today is part of a package of specialized computer equipment hardware, rugged computing devices for field data collection, and managed network switches to the tune of $653,000, which was procured to improve hazard data collection and monitoring systems in Dominica. So we're talking about some serious expensive equipment, 600 and something, over $500,000 worth of equipment. The following 13 government departments will benefit from this equipment, namely the Physical Planning Division, Land and Survey Division, Forestry, Wildlife and Parks Division, the Agriculture Division, Public Works Road Surveys Division, Ministry of Public Works, that's the Technical Services, the WASCO, the Environmental Health Department, the Met Services, Ministry of Finance, Office of Disaster Management, my good friend Cecil, Information and Communications Technology Unit, and also the local government department.
Minister for Information, Science, Telecommunications and Technology, Honorable Kelvin Daru, received the equipment on behalf of his ministry.
I wish to take the opportunity to thank and to congratulate the Honorable Minister of Health and the Environment for his vision in seeking aggressively and proactively to address issues at improving our resilience to natural hazards and long-term impacts of climate change in Dominica. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware of Dominica's vulnerability to natural hazards because of our physical location and characteristics. In that regard, it has become necessary to ensure that every effort is made to reduce our vulnerability to these hazards and protect ourselves against the negative effects of climate change. To this end, it has become necessary to not only build on our physical infrastructure, but to ensure that the necessary telecommunications and technology infrastructure is available and secure.
The minister says the government remains committed to ensuring ICT plays its part in the resilience to climate change.
The country is utilizing the advances made in ICT to build resilience to the impacts of climate change. These strides made by government is most significant since increasingly ICT is being recognized as having a significant role in building resilience to the impacts of climate change. The government, during the project preparation phase of the DVRP, recognized this, and therefore, in keeping with government's policy direction to provide greater access to information and communication technology, US $7.3 million of the grant funding was allocated to the implementation of activities on this component 2, which includes capacity building and data development, hazard risk management and evaluation.
The minister urged the recipients of the ICT equipment to use them for their intended purposes. The equipment donated are specialized computer equipment hardware, rugged computer devices for field data collection, and managed network services. Let's now join Shakira Peer for a recap of the week's headline stories.
Welcome to this week's edition of Flashback. In the headlines this week, on Monday, His Excellency Charles Savre, President of Dominica, left the state to attend the 15th Conference of Presidents and Governor-Generals of the Caribbean Community, which got underway on March 29th. Presentations on the Crown and the Caribbean realm, the role and function of the Privy Council in a changing Caribbean, and the impact of global warming on small island states were among topics discussed. His Excellency returned on island on April 1st. A 3-day training workshop to sharpen the skills of stakeholders on proper response in case of an oil spill got underway at the Office of the Disaster Management on Tuesday this week. The training brought together personnel from the Forestry Division, Ministry of Agriculture, DOWASCO, the Office of Disaster Management, Petro-Caribbean and other local petrol companies, attorney at law, among others. On Wednesday this week, the Dominica Association of Teachers held its 13th biennial conference on the theme Impacting Global Behavioral Change to Combat Global Warming. 17 retired teachers were recognized for the many years of dedicated service in the education system. The educators were awarded plaques by the president of DAT. The Ministry of National Security and the Information Communication Technology Unit launched the Driver's Automobile Information System and the Dominica Financial Intelligence Unit e-filing system on Thursday. The Dominica FIU e-filing system eliminates the need for paper filings and provides a greater level of security and privacy for individual filing a suspicious transaction report, while the Driver's Automobile Information System gives patrolling officers instant information on the status of drivers. The Information Minister says these applications aim to improve the quality of service delivery to citizens and businesses. On Wednesday, the first Rural Business Enterprise Center was launched in the indigenous people in Senegal. In the first stage of the enterprise project, several individuals were trained in garment making, tour guiding, and craft making. The center includes a craft shop, kitchenette, and restaurant, which are expected to generate funds, a conference room which is available for use for other community activities. And finally, this week, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has collaborated with the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, or ICA, and the Jeff Small Grants Program to host a climate-smart agriculture competition themed Stories from Farmers in the Eastern Caribbean States. The contest is open to Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is also open to any organization or organized group working in the agriculture in Eastern Caribbean states. These were some of the headline stories making the news this week. For details of each of these stories and others, visit our website or Facebook page. Back to you, Kerdisha.
Coming up next, today's tip. Here are a few tips to improve your overall health. 1. A healthy first meal. Have a well-balanced breakfast each morning and try your best never to skip it. 2. Water rules. Having 8 glasses of water every day not only cuts down your body fat, but is also great to get rid of toxins that build up in your system. 3. Have whole fruits. While having juices is convenient, it is best to have whole fruits as they provide better quantities of fiber and are more filling. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. Live streaming is also available 24 hours a day. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Kerdisha St. Louis. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.